All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Full Circle here for our second to last episode for the year, probably, and a bit of a special one. We've got our finals recap, we've got our grand finals predictions, and we've got an interview with both xooty and another Canadian player, Ploot, afterwards. I'm Dio, and I'm joined by two empty boxes for now, but they will very, very shortly be changed to this one guy and iFlame. So feel free to start talking because you'll show
Hello,
up
empty box number 1 here.
And empty box number 2. Feels good to be an empty box for a change. No responsibilities, no work. It's chill.
I love being empty box as well. It's my true calling is actually being an empty box. Oh, I'm here now.
Yeah, secret.
Yo, you didn't tell me my mic was off center. I thought I fixed this.
You are both here, dude. I
know.
My staff holiday party.
Okay.
I personally am like 3 drinks in on a Friday afternoon. It's barely 3 o'clock. We're just gonna have a fun time with this episode. Okay, it's gonna be a good episode.
It's better. I'll live with it.
Luckily for me, I don't have to cast tonight. Haha, Aaron.
Shut up. Shut up. I have to prep for the longest pool in OWC history, bro.
It's just a casual 3-hour pool.
Yeah, casual 2-hour map pool showcase. I think Leo did say it was the longest map pool showcase we've ever had.
Now, here's my question on that. Does that count, like, Mango and his, like, 15-minute speech at the end? Because, like, that...
So.
I doubt it.
That was, like, hour 3 is what that was, I think.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Mango, but that was a longer speech than I anticipated when I heard he was going to be speaking. Nothing against the guy, though.
Take a look at the average lengths awesome. For this is so off topic. We're like not even talking about the matches.
We're already off topic. We haven't even started yet. Might as well go off topic now and then come back.
Get there. Yeah. Better to get off topic at the start,
right? This is also yapping about OWC. I just average lengths for map pools 2021 grand finals without tiebreaker, because this year's tiebreaker is like nearly 8 minutes long. It's kind of unfair to include it. Without tiebreaker, 247 in 2021, 250 in 2022, 250 in 2023, 318. There was nearly a 30-second average map length jump in 2024, up to 337 this year. So,
God.
Yeah, it is quite long this year. Whether that's good or bad or neutral is up to viewer interpretation. I personally see both good and bad from it, because, like, on the one hand, if it does go to like a bracket reset, I get to cast extra long. On the other hand,
you're gonna be casting for 6 hours, bro.
Yeah, no, that's great. What do you mean?
Look,
that's awesome.
Painful if you're casting like you two are and you have to prep the pool. But I've been looking at the pool feedback in the Discord channel, and the players seem to really enjoy the pool so far. For the most part, they really enjoy the maps, and because the maps are so good, they don't mind the length so much. Yeah. So exactly. I have a feeling they might mind it a little bit more if they end up having to play OWC for 6 straight hours, but that might not end up happening, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Like, we'll get there when we get there, but if you are Poland in the matchup against the United States or Australia in the matchup against Poland, you're talking like midnight 1 a.m. if it goes to bracket reset, bro.
Yeah.
On a Sunday night. Like, goddamn, man.
Well, we'll get there when we get there, I suppose. Anyway, let's start talking about the finals, because we have skipped ahead a week.
Yeah.
Just chatting about the map pool in the showcase.
Hey, this is our podcast. We can do what we want.
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter if we skip ahead a little bit. But we'll talk about the finals for now. We're just starting in order because that's what's on the recap video. Sorry, iFlame, your outline is out of order, not my video. Canada versus South Korea to start as we get into things. This was the matchup of losers bracket to watch last weekend, right? This was xooty with the super pop off and putting on the one-woman carry show. But it was also a lot of really good scores from the rest of the team. It was Xylus FCing the DT2. It was also Xylus putting up the ridiculous Hard Rock score on the Free Mod 1 to actually close out the match. It was some very good scores from Wandirio and TS Fury in support. It was some very good scores from Yip on some of the free mods as well. Like, this was a definite team effort for Canada, but clearly the star player was xooty in this match, and it wasn't particularly close on their end. She is the reason that they were able to win this, and by a pretty significant margin.
Zooty's God.
You're not wrong.
Zooty's God. Xooty's God.
Yes, she is. She is the savior for Canada. But I mean, I do still want to call out a couple of the other players because if you look at the maps that were super close, it was oftentimes the supporting members for Canada that really stepped up. Like it was just an overall good team performance on their hidden 3 breakpoint. They won their DT3 by 13,000 points, thanks to a really good score from Pink Eye Fan. And then the last map they won, the Free Mod 3, was Xylus putting up an insane 600k Hard Rock score. So Xooty, big carry, but like you said, contributions from everyone. This was an interesting match because it felt like it was kind of a prove it match for Canada, right? Like they take a bit of a risk and you get 5 new rookies on the roster. And so you're saying this is the way forward, right? These players are the future of Canada. And you get back to the finals, which I think most people expected. Some people had them making top 8 instead of top 6, but regardless, and I think most people kind of wrote them off after that. You get to finals, okay, it's Canada. They are going to do what they did in the last 5 years and get absolutely scaled in the finals. And that just didn't happen. Like they absolutely proved that Canada has a very bright future. They made the right call by putting so many rookies on the roster, and they certainly proved their roster decisions with this match. So it's made it a very exciting time to be a fan of Canadian OWC.
Like outnumbered here with 2 Canadians.
Yeah, American.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I will willingly take the L on this one, I guess.
Look, I also had them losing in pickups.
Yeah,
I had
I did too.
in the pickups.
I didn't believe either.
Yeah, I think and this is something that I'm sure we'll be talking to the Canadians on the interview about, but you know, knowing that they were like the higher seed, but a lot of the people considered them the underdog anyway. Clearly they took that kind of to heart and used that as motivation, I gotta think, because damn did Canada look super good in this match. But yeah, it's interesting to iFlame's point how you have this kind of balance where they're displaying their newly found roster depth with all these rookies, but they're also getting just this ridiculous performance from Xooty that was like one of the best performances. I mean, she's had an insane career, but like nonetheless one of the best performances I've ever seen from her. So it's like really cool to see, you know, a member of, you know, kind of the continued old guard who's been around for quite some time on their teams, as well as performances from the new players on their roster. So that was pretty nifty. Also, like, shoutouts South Korea getting 5th, 6th after seeding 6th, after everybody kind of predicted their demise after how many players they lost from their team that won the whole thing last year. Got to give them a shout out for making top 6 with a roster that had, I think, a lot of question marks on it, but they still came through and performed well.
I mean, I feel like I disagree a little bit. I don't know that, like, they obviously people thought they would have a pretty steep drop off for last year, but it's like a drop off from one of the best ever OWC rosters. I think most people still had them top 6. I know I think I had them 4th in my pre-tournament predictions. I think a lot of people did as well. So it feels like kind of the expected result for South Korea.
Yeah. Well, we won't have to speculate all that much on Canada because we have 2 Canadians coming on for an interview after this. So we'll talk a little bit more about South Korea and yeah, I mean they lost 3 of their best players, right? But they still did get top 6. I touched on this in the recap video. Top 6 though for South Korea recently is kind of a rough performance. Like that is I think their worst overall placement since 2020. So it's been a while since we have seen South Korea place this low. 2020 was the last year that they had kind of a rough year. I think they were top 8 in that. So South Korea in the last 5 years, this is the worst that they have done. And this is kind of the end of an era for that team, right? Like you lose a lot of really good players. You lose worst HR player who, for all intents and purposes, doesn't seem to be coming back. You also lose Yok. You lose... oh, sorry. Lord, who is the third one that I'm thinking of that I can't name off the top of my head?
Where's HR player?
Fragrance of Page?
Fragrance Page, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. Not sure if he's coming back or not, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely rough for South Korea. This team I think did still have like the ability to do better than this, but unfortunately not able to convert. So see if they bounce back next year, right? South Korea is another country that, despite having like a pretty low player count, always seems to have reserves of people. Anything quick to add before we go on?
I think we're good.
All right. Yeah, on to Australia, Germany. This match was not an upset in any sense of the word, not a seeding upset, not a pick'ems upset. People expected Germany to lose. They lost. Australia moved on to top 4. It was, I think, closer in the individual map score lines than a lot of people maybe expected. Lots of maps less than 100K or 200K. And Germany, especially Kriller, putting on a really, really good show in this match. Also, a couple of really good performances from Runny Sunny in this match in particular. The rest of the roster kind of trailing behind in the finals, but that had done well up to this point. And Germany, it's another story similar to South Korea. Yeah, you're top 6, but I don't know if that was a successful year for them. Top 6 for Germany is their worst placement since 2017. Like, it's been a long time since they were not in the top 4. They are still top 6 now for the 11th year in a row, or sorry, 12th year in a row. But yeah, it's been a long time since they were just top 6. Feels a little weird to say only top 6, but for Germany, that is kind of the lowest bar that you expect them to place at.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I think that one's kind of like bad bracket luck for them, because if they're on the other side of the bracket in the 5th, 6th match round, whatever, they would have gotten South Korea or Canada, and I think have a much better chance against either of those teams to get top 4 instead of getting Australia. So I do think that kind of played a role in this particular situation. But yeah. I don't know. 7 mechanics players meme.
Yeah, I mean, like, better chance, I agree, but they're just not a top 4 team in this tournament, right? Like, if you actually look at the scores they put up, they had a lot of pretty low scores compared to the other average scores. They had the lowest average score across the weekend. And so, yeah, it's just rough. And I mean, I think it's also easy to look at like South Korea and Germany, say they've done worse than they ever have before. Not ever before, sorry, in quite a while, I should say, and feel like be kind of disappointed. But like in context, right? If you just look at the rosters and forget about the history, then it's actually kind of a solid result for this roster. They finished where you'd expect. But I think Germany is like no longer that late stage scaling team that just outscales everybody in finals. It feels like they've just been slowly bleeding like over the years a lot of their kind of late stage skill cap players to the point where now it's kind of just Kriller who had to try and beat Emrek and Secret Box a little bit solo, and Emrek is Emrek, Secret Box is Secret Box. That's not going to happen. But I am curious to see where Germany goes from here.
Yeah, the big thing to me is that like they need that second big player. Like you said, you know, Australia has Emrek and Secret Box, who were just insane as always. You know, the Poland roster this year has Malashevsky, Milosh, Nahus. Like, you can go down the list with them. You know, South Korea last year with Forum and with Hyok and with Page. I mean, that was like an insane roster, right? Germany at this point, like in the past, it's been like, oh, they had, you know, peak Dust Ice and Okinamo, or they had Kriller and White Cat, or they had some combination thereof. And they kind of don't have that now. I think the United States is like the only country that kind of has been able to get away with having fewer stars in recent years, although they haven't won in possibly a couple of years now, so maybe that might be coming an issue for them too. But most teams, it just feels like you have to have at least 2 of those carry players, and Germany unfortunately didn't manage that this year. But this match, like, for being a 7-2, I think you really do have to look at the individual maps, because there were, I think, 5 maps that were 200k or less, right? And it was just like Kriller versus Emrek, Kriller versus Secret Box, basically the whole way through. So this is closer than the score indicates, but I feel like, I don't know, it's just like you guys, like we said, Australia was just better.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the top 2. Kriller was 3rd overall individual performance. Their second best player was Denzel Curry, Serbia Trucker, who was 17th. Every single other team who played the finals pool had at least 2 people in the top 10.
I'll just say the quiet part out loud for Germany. The fact that Okinawa is still playing OWC with 1,500 total play count this year really says all that it needs to about Germany's ability to replace their long-standing legacy play. Right, like it's one thing for xooty to come back because she still actually plays the game, right? Like she's a full-time streamer. She does all of this a lot. She plays the game a ton throughout the year. Even if she's not playing tournaments actively, she's still playing OWC a lot throughout the year. That's just not happening with Okinawa, and the fact that you still have a player like him who, to be clear, is one of the greatest of all time to ever do it, but he's just not as good as he used to be. He doesn't play the game as much anymore, full stop. The fact that he's still on this roster shows that Germany doesn't have something going on behind the scenes to be able to build talent and replace those long-standing players who, yes, are very good, but just don't have quite the same motivation and play count as they used to. So I don't know exactly what needs to change for Germany, but I think this year should be a sign that, yeah, okay, looking at the roster, sure, you expect them to place right here, but is that really where Germany maybe wants to place? No, I don't think so. I think they want to place better, and I think they should and probably will take this year and use it as motivation to start building up some more talent. There's definitely some names, even in chat, that are coming up who maybe are going to see some action next year, let's say. So I'm hoping for a positive spin on all of that they will use this year as fuel for next year and start looking into some more replacement players and much like Canada, take the plunge on a bunch of rookies, because I think that is something that should happen for this team that is relying a lot on a lot of older players. And I think Runny Sunny being one of their better performers in the later stages is proof enough that they should invest in more rookies, because that was his.
And it feels like that's always something that's a struggle for a lot of teams, and I don't really know why, because I'm not behind the scenes with them. But historically, we've had this discussion about multiple nations really over the years. I don't know precisely the reasoning necessarily for so many countries often being unwilling to replace old heads with promising rookies, but it seems to be kind of a problem that affects a whole bunch of different rosters that could likely improve, and worst case scenario, side grade by giving new players a chance.
Yeah, I mean, my guess, I don't know for sure, but my guess is that the older players are oftentimes still just better straight up than whoever you can replace them with, at least in the short term. But then, are you going to commit to putting those rookies on the team and getting that longer term growth rather than just going for short term success? It's a trade-off.
Yeah, like the thing with that is, I'll use the example of White Cat or Vaxe for Germany or USA, right? Like I saw a bunch of people like, where is White Cat? Where is Vaxe? And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you could put one of those guys on the team, but what is the long-term implications of doing that? The long-term is that you're just taking up a spot and experience for people who will actually have motivation a few years from now and can potentially become new star players for your team. Do you really want to do that instead of just putting the experience on the new people? I don't think so. I think you want the experience on the new people. So that also goes for some of these other older players, right? That's also an argument that you can make about some of these older players for any of these teams, really.
Yeah, it's like we talk about the process, in in the NBA, right, and things like that. Trust the process, right? It's gonna take some time. It takes a little rebuilding. But ask the Oklahoma City Thunder about that. They got new players, they drafted well, and they got experience onto some younger players. And guess what? They won the championship last year, and they're challenging the all-time wins record this year. I mean, the proof is out there that giving young players experience, even if you have to kind of punt maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, it's worth it for the future. Yeah, it didn't work for the Sixers, but it sure as hell worked for OKC.
Some processes are more refined than others. Let's put it
OKC has a goated front office, and not every team has a goated front office. But now I'm talking about the NBA, which is obviously not the point here. I just like talking about sports. Yeah, also, Australia and Canada are two really good examples of that. with Canada this year. Like, they still got a very good result with 5 rookies. Australia has 4 new players this year.
Australia
Granted,
2023 was another good example, right? Like
Australia
completely pumped their
2023 and
roster.
Australia 2023 and last year. I think both are examples of like, let's add new players, let's give them the OWC experience, and guess what? They were still getting top three. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and start talking about
Speaking of Australia,
our last loser bracket
Seamless
matchup, Australia
transition.
versus Canada. Yeah, unfortunately for Canada, this is where the process stopped working. This is where the process stopped working. So
I mean, the process reached MREC.
Yeah.
What more needs to be said?
Yeah, that's basically
Yeah.
it. The process reached MREC and a secret box, and Zootinator didn't have quite the same ridiculous performance she had in the first match of the weekend versus South Korea. But I did take a look at some of the scores. Even if you give both teams their top scores over the whole weekend, it still looks like Australia is winning the head-to-head across all of their maps, right? So, unfortunately for Canada, probably not going to happen regardless on that matchup. Australia scaling into this finals pool is just that good, and MREC decided to 2.0 match cost the entire tournament this weekend, so unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of ran out of picks. Like, they won their first 2 picks, Fremont 4, Fremont 2. Then they give up a break point on Hidden 1, and they don't win a single one of their own picks after that. Completely running out of picks. And I mean, I think it just goes to highlight why most people felt like there was such a clear-cut top 3 going into this World Cup. I mean, you look at the percent max scores of these 2 teams, and I think there's a 0.04 gap between the top 3 teams, another 0.04 between Australia and Canada, and then Germany, South Korea are a fair bit behind that. And it had the top 3 average scores for the pool by a fair bit as well.
It's interesting actually looking at this match, because part of me just wants to say it was the MREC show, because like,
Kind of was.
Hidden 3 1 miss, 98 AC, DT1 FC, Hidden 1 choke. But a lot of his other scores, and even including that Hidden 3 score, they were actually like not so amazingly better than everyone else. It's just they were enough better. That was like the big thing. It was just time and time again, like, MREC was enough better, that it just added up. You know, it's like his score, his and Box's scores both on Hidden 3, they're so different. It's 98.5 AC 1 miss versus 97 AC 12 miss, and they're only 75k apart in score. And then like Nomad 3, that they were 90k apart in score, and Xooty was right there, but it's just like the rest of the team. I don't know. This match, if you didn't already believe in the MREC Box duo, because they were just a difference. It's like a smaller margin sometimes than I feel like it felt like in the moment, if that makes sense. But they were still good enough that it didn't matter.
Yep. I can't really say much more about that. Let's move on to our next match, because we're kind of running a little over time with the recaps. I know we started a little bit late as well, but I do want to try to keep things mostly on time here. Good support from some of the other members on Australia as well. Cloppet in particular looking quite good there, alongside Atkins, as we expected for that team. And we move into winners finals, which was the closest match of the weekend, and I think the winners finals this was match of the tournament so far. Like, this was great. It was just awesome. If you haven't watched the winners finals, you should probably go watch that before losers bracket finals happens at 4 UTC today. It went to tiebreaker. It was 7-6 for Poland. And this match was just really, really close all the way through. At the start of the match, it was a break point with kind of a pump fake for Poland on Nomad 5. My dog. Oh my God. I don't know if you can hear my dog.
Cannot.
Kind of a pump fake for Poland with Nomad 5 picking that over for the United States. Because Poland banned out Hidden 2 and then just completely crushed them on Nomad 5. And that gave them an early break point. Eventually, the USA was able to take that back through the rest of the match, but there were a couple of really, really close points all the way through this as well. It was both teams winning their own picks, but it was also super close points for basically the entirety of the match. It was so close in this one. And at the end of it all, it was just carry performances for Malashevsky and Nahus on tiebreaker that won Poland the match. So this was like a testament that the carry player, the hyper carry player versus roster depth narrative is still very much going strong into grand finals for both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, this one was so much fun to watch, especially as a neutral viewer. I don't have much stake in whether the US or Poland wins. It was super exciting. Ultimately, Malashevsky really made the difference, but it was close, right? Both teams picked really well. I didn't feel like any of them had any kind of errors with their pick ban strategy. There was a ton of really close maps. Hidden 1 was 30,000 points, Hard Rock 3, 60,000, and the Nomad 4, 50,000. And I mean, US, they give up one early break point, but they kind of keep Middle strong, bide their time, get it back right at the end. And then, I mean, tiebreaker was an absolute banger as well.
Yeah, not a whole lot to say about this because, like, I don't know, I was just there casting it. And I was too in the moment. It's just the tiny margins on a couple of the picks. I mean, USA lost 2 of the 3 really close maps, right? If those flip, like if Rectagon doesn't 16 miss Hidden 1, they win that. If like they just get the tiniest bit more combo on Nomad 4, they win that, and then we're talking about a whole different outcome, and USA's in winner's side of grands. Like, it's just those small little things. Because basically, interestingly enough, like every other map was not really all that close. Almost every other map besides those 3 was like 200k plus, right? So the margins were just those couple of picks being very, very tight, and then teams winning their own picks by a lot, and then Bashi heroics to take the free mod 2 breakpoint back. But the tiniest of margins on a couple maps could have flipped the outcome. And then also, like, all right, we're not officially associated with OWC or anything in this moment, so I'm just going to say my personal quiet part out loud about this. That tiebreaker is some shit, bro. It's 6 minutes long, and the only part that matters are the first 2 minutes, because you are not touching combo the rest of the map. So whoever was in the lead after literally like 1200 combo won the map. And I hate that because it's just so anticlimactic. The rest of the match was unbelievable and really, really awesome, but I hate that tiebreaker.
But the song was a banger, at least. So
The song rocks. The song is awesome. The map is visually super cool and all that stuff. I just don't like the balance of the map, where literally half to 2/3 of it are completely irrelevant to the outcome.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely fair. I mean, some tiebreakers lead to better and kind of closer gameplay than others, and unfortunately, it didn't happen with this one because I feel like we've not had a lot of tiebreakers this World Cup.
That's a interesting point. How many tiebreakers have we had? We didn't have a single tiebreaker in semis. We had 1 tiebreaker in quarters.
I mean, I think the bigger issue is, like, in that match, USA just didn't
16?
combo the first half of the map, right?
Yeah.
Like, they just didn't have anyone hit the quote-unquote easy part. So Poland just got a big lead because nobody from USA was comboing. Like, that's more the issue, is that you didn't hit anything, unfortunately.
But the thing is, right, most in a balanced, consistently difficult map, if you have trouble comboing one part, you still have an opportunity to get back in it.
Yeah.
And this map, that's just not the case.
I mean, I'm not saying it's without its flaws, but definitely the flaws were exacerbated a little bit by how the map played out.
Of course, sure. Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like, shoutouts Poland, because I think it would have been easy for them to maybe feel the slightest bit defeated, giving up the late break point to tie the match, and then they come back with that like crazy Malashevsky score on DT1 to ensure they at worst have tiebreaker. And then even after getting kind of like blown out on Hard Rock 1, they were still like super ready to go for the tiebreaker. So that was like impressive to me because not every team has the ability to stay kind of locked in the very end of a match when it's going the way that one did. But Malashevsky is just him. I don't know. Now who's finally showing up on the tiebreaker after kind of not having had the greatest tournament overall until that point, was also super big. Like they got this. I don't know.
Yeah, it certainly set the stage for grand finals.
It just feels like that's 2 years in a row where it just has taken like this, like a super team to beat the United States. You have this crazy roster from Poland. Last year you had that crazy roster from South Korea, and it's like, maybe the United States is not quite so impossible to beat if you have several of the best tournament players in the world on your team.
Does take a lot, though. And let's go ahead and take a look at how these matches for next week will play out. Speaking of potentially beating the United States, let's start off with our first matchup, United States versus Australia. We're also joined by Shiba and Miles for the prediction stream segment of things. Last minute addition for Miles. Thank you very much for coming on. We're going to try to keep this to like 25 minutes or so because we have stuff to do, and B, you have stuff to do. So I'm going to try and keep things relatively quickly moving here.
I didn't know I'd be here until like 1 minute ago.
Yeah, thank you, Miles.
Our goat.
My goats.
Our goat
This
indeed.
guy. Here are
Alright,
Miles,
wait.
bro.
Hold on. Dang, I forgot one little bit of preparation.
I
how
know
Oh,
Miles
is
exactly
he
what you're
is he
doing.
gonna get
Putting
his
the hat on.
is he gonna get his My Fellow
Yes.
Americans bit? Like, is that the time now?
He's got
Yeah.
an
My
American.
fellow
he's
Americans.
got a
Yes,
USA
it
something.
is.
My fellow Americans.
Yes. Bro, you should have got the wife beater flannel, Miles. It would have been perfect for this
Oh
moment.
my god.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I know
No
what
way.
team Miles is putting for this match. So, let's just go from that side. Miles, you can start us off. Why is USA winning this match?
Done it for the last 2 years. They did it in semifinals. It's tough to call though because like Australia, like this is their pool. Like they have all the speed picks. They have all the like. They have everything they need. They have a tiebreaker where they have arguably the top 3 people in the lobby, unless like Window Life or Rectagon go off, which is why US has to win this 7-5. I think US has more of the map pool at their disposal, but Australia certainly has their maps. And if Australia takes 1 break point or even 2, then the match goes completely the other way. And the USA just has to weather the storm on the speed picks. And if they can manage to steal 1 of them, I think the match is automatic.
All right, Shiba, what do you got?
I mean, it's basically like a similar deal with Miles, but I do think Australia close it out. It is a little hopeful because I don't exactly know how the ceiling for the USA players will be. But I think on top of that, these maps are really, really difficult. That even on the non-gimmick skill sets, like Emrek effect is going to be even higher. One thing I will say is that if Emrek even has a slightly off day, like he sets 700Ks instead of 800Ks or something like that, that makes things way less likely for Australia. Like I'm fully relying on this Emrek box duo to really doing work, and you have to pray to all things that Akins can do good as the 3rd player on the mechanics maps, and Pala will act up on those gimmicky or free mod filler maps, so that Emrek doesn't have that much pressure on him. Because USA are going to do good this match. This is Australia's pool. I think the ceiling will always favor Australia, even if the supporting players are not going to be as good in support. But I do think it's going to be close, and I do think it hinges on Emrek. And Miles is right. If this goes to tiebreaker, US are cooked. You can see Window Life popping off. I see Window Life doing God's work on this map, but I don't see the rest of USA doing that strong. I think Emrek Akins is going to be so good. Rectagon, yeah, but like, is the ceiling that high? Because I think
Yes.
Rectagon has a great ceiling.
Rectagon's
Yes,
just as
yes,
good.
Rectagon can play this.
No.
Rectagon has the highest ceiling of anyone on
I'm
that team.
50-50.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
50. I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50. Oh, okay. I guess so. Okay, no, that's fair enough. I think COE, and I retract my statement. But still, like, compare that to what Emrek can do, and compare that to what potentially Akins and Klopper can do if they feel good enough on that speed, and it's a done deal. I'm calling Australia, but God, I hope it's a good match because oh my God, like all 3 of these matches in both the potentials are absolute cinema. So please, God, don't let this be a stomp. This cannot be disappointing. I'm going to cry.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it'll be close for sure. But there's so much pressure on the sporting members for Australia because they've not really shown up for a lot of this tournament. I think Atkins as well has had a generally rougher World Cup than as compared to last year, and so it kind of has just been Secret Box and MREC for pretty much the whole tournament. But the pool is hard enough, and Australia favored enough that could Secret Box and MREC just straight up 2v4 everybody? Yeah, it's entirely possible. I mean, then the question is, if MREC isn't like putting up an otherworldly performance, the United States just runs over them. You look back a few rounds ago where they got swept by the United States, and yeah, they had an off day for sure on that pool. But I think you need both MREC and Box to be on top of their game, and especially with nerves. It's a lot to ask for in a grand finals match, I think. I do think it's going to be close. I'm going to give it to the United States, just slightly.
SMH.
Oh, this is such a tough one, man. The United States actually has a full roster. Australia has like 5.5, maybe 6.5 players. We have seen. Anybody have on hand how many maps Superior and Milo have played?
Superior
One.
has
Superior
played
has
2.
not
I believe
played this
Milo's played
tournament. Oh, really?
4.
Superior has played 1. Superior
Yeah.
has played 1
I
map.
think it
He's
was
played.
the start of the
Did he not
tournament,
play
too.
last week?
No,
I
he
don't think
so
so.
Superior had
Milo
no maps
played,
last week. I can tell you
Okay,
that
then he played
Superior
one.
had 0 maps last
Superior,
week.
Superior, the last maps they played, Superior played DT2 once in semifinals, and Milo played 1 map last week in DT4, and he got 272k. He was by far the lowest score in the lobby.
He also
And it
played
was
2 maps in
definitely-
qualifiers.
Yeah,
Hard Rock 1
it was
twice.
definitely clear that Milo's ceiling and his nerves, from what I knew from the comms, his nerves were at a colossal high, and that was why he couldn't perform.
So I think
That was
the
fine,
big question is, right, and this has, I guess, kind of been already discussed, right, is does the United States roster depth outscore Australia's roster depth by enough to make up for whatever MREC and Secret Box are capable of doing to whoever the United States' top players are? Because I do think it's obvious, you know, MREC's best player in the world. He's going to top score a lot of maps in a pool like this. Like, there's just no way around it. So it's going to be that depth versus carry question.
Aaron, make it satisfying. Make it a nice thing. Come on, that's your temptation. Come on, give in to your patriotism.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
the American is going to go.
Does
for
USA win the
Australia.
whole Hard Rock pool?
Here's the thing.
Yes, again.
No.
Yeah.
No, what?
I'm just gonna say this. I'm going to put my faith in MREC.
Yes.
I'm gonna pick Australia 7-6.
Let's go.
I think the difference between MREC and everyone else is big enough that he can basically win this match for his team if he gets literally the tiniest bit of support, which we know he will from Secret Box, we know he will from Atkins. Whatever the rest of the team has to offer, whatever Kloppet and Powler show up with, whatever, if Superior, Xaver, and Milo play like it all, I'm just going to say, I think if it's ever going to happen, the way MREC played last weekend and how hard this pool is, this is the time for it to happen. If Australia wins at 7-6, any possible other score in this match is a United States win, but Australia wins on tiebreaker.
There you go. Good job, TNG. We're not getting screenshotted today.
All right,
That's not
That's
bad.
my goat right there. You know the truth. You know you want the better grand finals matchup.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about some. I'm gonna talk
Yeah,
about something.
whatever.
I'm gonna talk about something that nobody else has actually talked about yet, which is the mental element of this game that really goes under discussed. I think when you get to this stage of the tournament, everybody's talking about roster depth, which sure is important. Talk about the carry performance from MREC and Secret Box. Sure, that's important as well. One of the things that MREC was talking about before facing off against the USA again in semifinals this year was the mental roadblock of, oh, I'm playing USA in OWC. This is a big deal. And he actually got nervous in semifinals. That's more likely to happen against Team USA than it is against anyone else. We saw him completely demolish the finals in losers bracket, sure, but he has talked before about specifically how facing off against the USA can make him nervous. That doesn't happen as much versus Malashevsky. That doesn't happen versus Zootinator. That doesn't happen versus any one player in particular, but USA in OWC is a different beast. they are undefeated in this matchup, right? They beat them twice 2 years ago, last year in loser finals, both of those matches, and swept them 6-0 in semifinals. Like, there is a fucking mental block here that Australia has to overcome. So to do that on top of it being projected to be close in an ideal scenario for both of these things, for both of these teams, I think USA just takes it because of that.
Yeah.
Like, everything that you guys have said is valid, but none of you have considered the mental block, and I think that's what's going to manifest.
This existed for like 10 years, by the way. Like, even in the old era, they never beat US ever.
And that's the reason I have US as well. Right? I think they just need too much out of MREC, and I don't think MREC is gonna be putting up that same like finals performance against the US in a grand finals pool, but we'll see.
I don't know. Like, I feel like the mental for Australia, it could potentially be the opposite, especially when how you've seen them play in finals. Like, they might be against US, but they might see it more as like a, bring it on kind of thing, and less so a, like we went through losers.
This was like 2 weeks ago, Shiba.
No. Last week in finals.
Last week
in
finals. Those teams.
Did you guys actually like see how they played in final? Like, granted, they're against way worse teams. Yeah, no, I know, but like the mental, these guys had peak vibes. These guys had peak vibes, and I get part of the reason why the mental was going so badly was just because, and granted, it was partly just because Emmerich just wasn't having his good day. Like, that's the thing that hinges on. If Emmerich's having a good day and they win a point from Emmerich having a good day, the rest of the team will lift it up. A rising tide raises all ships, and I think that's going to work for Australia, especially with how unhinged difficult this pool is. Even if Emmerich has a little bit off, he's going to still diff most people.
It's easier than last year's grand.
Is that actually true? I keep hearing people say that.
Yes, it is.
I think
I don't know how to determine.
But in ways, it's weird. Sorry, Shiba. It's in ways that are actually bad for the US, by the way. Like, the Hidden One being the easiest map in the pool is a bad thing for the US. And I also think that Ethan Trix in particular, who's been an X factor on so many maps for the USA, doesn't really have too many of those picks in the pool. Like, they're going to ban out Nomad 5, they're going to ban out Hidden 2, and Hidden 1 is AR10. Hidden 3 is a stream map. Like, there are barely any Ethan Trix picks in this pool, which
is not that good
for the USA.
Said in the pool feedback that he was super nerfed by the pool length.
I think.
USA needs Pez to be Pez. He's been like,
bro.
He's been like not playing super well. Like, on the low key, he's been not performing at expected level for him.
From what I always see with this matchup, like, taking away those bans, like, we know what we're going to be getting rid of. Every single Australia favored map is almost guaranteed to go into Australia, and every other map to me is like 50-50 winnable for Australia, and I would rather have those odds for Australia.
I'd never say that, by the way.
That's what I think, because I think like this pool works. The only person that can change that for me is probably Decaden on Free Mod and Hard Rock. Aside from that, like, the whole DT pool's Australia favored, and Emmerich can more than perform well on every other map. Like, we've seen him diff the best players on those specialized skill sets on his own, even if they're not his main skill set. Like, he literally FC'd Nomad 5 last week. Like, that should be an example that he can still diff on these kinds of skill sets, even if they're not his main ones. He can 1v4 if he can. Like, it's doable. I see it.
But against like a 4-man and not having any backup, like, that's the problem.
On the map.
There's a different one on screen right now. Let's look at it.
I'd love to keep talking about this match, but like, gentlemen, we got a timer. Like, let's keep it the fuck moving. On to this next match. It's going to be Poland versus the United States for the grand finals. We saw this matchup. It went to tiebreaker. They probably have a similarly close match this week as well. In the first matchup, we saw USA win all 3 of the Hard Rocks. We saw them take a lot of really close maps against Poland and vice versa. Poland is going to be able to abuse reading. Both of these teams actually have speed against each other in different ways. Streams more for the United States and stamina more for the United States. Bursts and DT aim more for Poland. Like, pretty much everything is evenly split. I think this match maybe comes down to tiebreaker again, and I think if it is that close, realistically, you give it to the team that has the winner's bracket advantage. So I'm going to go Poland just because they're coming into grand finals from winners bracket. If you flip the roles and USA is coming in from winners bracket, I go USA in this match. But A, the mental block's not quite there for Poland. They've already beaten the United States, right? They know it can be done. They've done it before. B, they have that extra bracket reset to be able to get themselves a second chance versus USA if the first one goes wrongly, which is a huge deal for your like strategy going into a match, right? You can pick stuff that you might not be totally sure about. I think that matters a lot more than like individual analysis of who's going to do well on what maps, because we all know how this match goes, right? It's the same exact shit as we discussed for Australia versus the United States, where it's the carry players for Poland and it's the roster depth for USA, and they both have maps that they're good on. But at the end of the day, this was super close last week. I expect it to be close again. In that case, I give it to the team that comes from winners bracket.
Yeah, we talked about that during the winners bracket final, right? Like how big the advantage of whoever won that match was going to be in grands, having winner's side. We discussed that being pretty huge. So I do get that. I think. Okay, this is gonna be really weird because I just picked USA to lose to basically to MREC, but I'm actually picking USA to win in the grand final. I know that makes no sense, but I'm just going off of vibes here. I think if United States beat Australia, they will be at a level, and I think you get a little bit of regression to the mean. I don't think Poland does the crazy stuff on No Mod 5 again that they did last week. And I think, literally United States just needs to win one of those two maps that were like 50K score or less that they lost, and they win that match. They also, I would like to know behind the scenes, I would like to know if Rectagon has fixed his lag issues, because that affected him on like 3 different maps, and I know at least one of those they lost.
Yeah.
So if he's gotten that fixed, and literally it's those margins, like that's all the margin you need is one player not having one bit of lag that causes your team to lose by 50K. Like that's literally how close these teams are. And so, just those tiny things. I think the United States, if they win the losers final, will be in a mental position and will be in a performance level where I think they are able to win this. I do accept that Poland being in winner's side is huge because of the advantage when they are that close. But I just think the tiny little margins that all went Poland's way, it felt like in the last match, will not all go Poland's way again this time. That being said, it could just as easily be the exact same result where they win like 7-5, 7-6 again. Like there's literally no way of telling. But I don't know, just the vibes, United States Grand Finals, right the wrongs of 2017 where they lost in bracket reset Grand Final against Poland.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it pretty short because I think it's a lot of the same points that we talked about in United States versus Australia. Obviously, Poland, they've got a lot more depth than Australia, which I think will give them an edge. This one could go either way. I will say, I think if Poland is winning this, I think they have to win it in the first match. If United States manage to win that first one, regardless of how close it might be, even if it goes to tiebreaker, I think they're going to take the next one as well by a better score. I think they'll have some good momentum and they'll be able to capitalize it. They've done that quite a bit over the past couple of years. But I think, I mean, honestly, I have no idea for this one. Just purely off of vibes, I'm going for Poland.
Yeah, I think all we got is vibes, bro.
This is such a messed up matchup to call. This really is. Like, I mean, I'm gonna say Poland because I'm gonna say I'm biased. I want Poland to win, but it's obviously such a close match. If you really can't tell, just go for the one that you really do have true faith in. To say like this is probably one of the closest. I mean, all three of these matchup potentials are so obscenely close. I think what I'm worried about is Malashevsky's ceiling in terms of consistency. I know I said the same thing about last week and I was proven wrong there. But like I think if he can stay good on there, then I think he'll do great work. Miles, what are you doing? What are you doing right now?
Dio already put my flag down.
Yeah, I know you're gonna put USA.
I mean, it's obvious. Like, come on,
bro.
What, you're gonna say Poland are winning, Miles? Is that what you're saying right now? Come on, join the gang and change your prediction, bro. Come on, be
Nah, he's
real.
going USA. I already know.
It's
No,
Miles. He has no
He is,
choice.
it's
I think-
Miles.
I think
He's
Poland
obligated.
just generally. I think Poland have like a collective confidence knowing that they have beaten USA, they can beat USA, and even if they're at a deficit, they can still do so because of how close so many of these different maps can be for this team. One thing's for sure is that you need Nahus to be consistent. You need those backup fourth players to do good work. And in all honesty, Shedis and Koshirek has done fantastic work as being those fill players. I'm really just hoping that Nahus and Milos lock in so that they can support Malashevsky right, and that those super returning rookies in Shedis and Koshirek just keep doing what they're doing, even if the map is really hard. And I believe they can do that. I think USA still have so much pressure. They are still going to be nervous. They are still going to be shitting themselves when they see Malashevsky in the lobby. And I think Poland win. I think Poland win. I get it.
Okay, so I had this whole bit planned. Aaron, you remember the college football thing? I think it was the SEC final when McAfee went on this whole rant about, or he sang like the Georgia fight song, and then he said, "I'm picking Alabama." I had that whole thing planned.
Oh
where I was
my
gonna
God.
talk about how good Poland has looked. Shedis and Kosierek have taken over maps all as late as finals stage, which means of course they're going to be good for grands. How Nahus, I think, is going to be really good as well. You have 3 people with insane skill cap and versatility on Poland that just look really good, and I'm picking USA. Fuck off. Like, legit.
I got you the clip. I got you the clip.
Who could have seen this coming?
Yeah,
Like,
never,
no one
never
can
gonna
see this
predict
Yeah.
that.
This
in
fucking
shock.
patriot, bro.
Like,
This
of course
fucking-
I am. I'm wearing a do-rag with my flag on it. Like,
Yep.
We need to get you a USA shiesty,
I
bro.
think like surprising
flag over
players
here.
have popped off for USA. Like, you look at USA coming into the tournament, you're like, Rectigon's gonna play great, Window Life has played great. #1 performer in terms of match cost last week, Decaton, if he's playing really well,
Yeah,
that's good
I'll
for
agree with
USA. Boshi Man is playing clutch. I think everyone has looked good on their maps. They're the most well-rounded team in the tournament. It's just, as I've been saying for this entire tournament, like, they don't have someone who's definitively going to be matching Malashevsky or an Emrek or a Milos. And as long as they can find that on 1 player per map, they're going to be fine. And I think the defining factor of this match in particular is the backing players for Poland. And I didn't even mention Shari Tori has been playing exceptionally well as a player on Poland as well. Like, they have an incredibly well-rounded roster. It was so close last week, as everyone's been saying. This is just a vibes prediction. And I mean, I've been vibe predicting USA for the last, like, however long.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
you know, if I was a betting
usually
man,
works.
if I was a betting man, I might have won, like, a whole mortgage by doing that by now. I know I lost it last year, but I think that's just a little pimple on the face. You could come back to supremacy after a year. Just gotta clutch up this incredibly difficult match, and I believe in them.
Yeah.
All right.
The big narrative is whether or not USA can still keep it. You know,
Yep.
even though so many people are like thinking it's this time.
All right, let's go on to one last match, the other potential for grand finals, because why not predict that? Poland versus Australia. If Australia do beat the USA, do they also beat Poland? I'm saying maybe.
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say maybe. Malashevsky
Brutal.
and Emrek are like basically the same player on this pool. Emrek is a little bit better, but how much better? I mean, they go to tiebreaker on 8-star pools all the time, so I don't actually know. He's definitely a little bit better because he consistently wins that matchup 1v1, but like, how much
This is
better?
4v4.
This is 4v4. Like, it's not the same.
Yeah,
Secret Box
Australia
is
gets
probably
work out.
matching either Milos or Nahus depending on the map, but then like, the 3rd and 4th players really matter in this match. Do you take the other of Milos or Nahus over somebody like Kloppet or Atkins? Do you take Shari Tori or Shedis or Kosierek over like Atkins or Kloppet or Xaver or Paller, right? Depending on the map. I think there's a lot of really intricate discussions to be had about those. I feel like Australia's got a little bit of the edge on Hard Rock and DT. Poland has a little bit of the edge on Hidden and No Mod. Free mods feel like a big toss-up. I think this is like similarly close as USA versus Poland for different reasons, but because I think it's similarly close, I just go Poland again because they still have winner's bracket advantage in this matchup too. So it's like they win for the same reason in both matches in my mind. Like, the match plays completely differently with different players doing different things, but in the end Poland wins. I don't know. That's my vibe.
Can I just say I am desperate. I am desperate to see this matchup because like we've seen Malashevsky versus Emmerich everywhere except
Oh my God, yeah.
the late rounds of
Yeah.
OWC.
Yes.
Like, they played in what, quarters a couple years ago?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2023 quarters.
The world needs two of the greatest tournament players of all time in OWC Grand Finals. Like, I need air to fucking breathe.
I'll just say it, the
Like,
two best
yeah.
tournament players of all time,
Yeah.
right? Like,
yeah,
Yeah,
that's fair.
literally.
Yeah.
Like this is literally Faker versus Deft levels of poetry. Like it's madness if this happens in grand finals and this match is good. Oh my goodness! Like
Yeah.
it is a dream. It is a dream match.
I absolutely just need this match to occur so badly.
the
that,
storylines,
like,
bro.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm willing to root against my own country tonight, almost, almost, because of how badly I want to see this matchup occur. Like, it is just the ultimate storyline of all time. That being said, I basically just have to agree with Dio. I think Malashevsky is going to be the closest person in the tournament, of course, to being able to match Emmerich. And that's something that the United States just doesn't have on their roster. Is like that. At this year, it feels like anyway, is that guy. And so I think, you know, in the way that the United States could feasibly lose to Australia, I think Poland can beat Australia because they have the depth, and they have somebody who is just that little bit behind Emmerich rather than a gap
Harry, you shut the
behind
fuck
Emmerich
up.
on these 8+ 9-star pools.
Shut the fuck up, Ari, bro. What the...
I don't know
Talk to
what's
my
happening.
legends
I'm not
like
reading
that.
chat.
Yeah.
Harry-
Anyway,
don't worry about it, bro.
I flame.
Yeah, look, I would love to see the Malashevsky versus Emmerich matchup. That would be so much fun to watch. But ultimately, I think Australia has a slightly worse matchup into Poland than they do in the U.S. Like you said, it's not like it's one carry versus depth. It's Malashevsky matches Secret Box, and when you look at the rest of the rosters, the supporting members for Poland have just been gapping the supporting members for Australia most of the tournament, like Secret Box being the one exception, but again matched by Milos probably. So those four match each other. Poland support gaps Australia support, and they just win.
I mean, this
It'd
is
be
probably
really
one of the
funny.
most
Sorry to interrupt, just real quick. If
established
you
go.
can I talk about how funny it would be if Australia just shows up with like Cloppet and Paller just like big dicking this pool and dropping like 600K on every match. After all this
They
shit we've been
literally
talking
could,
about
though.
Australia's
They could.
like secondary players. It would be so funny if they showed up with those guys just absolutely having the match of their lives.
Somebody said something
that's
about
the
like
thing for it.
Australia is saving Superior and Milo Milkshake for grand finals. How fucking funny would it be if
I
they
saw
both
that
show
too.
up and just like 800K every map like Emmerich in the grand finals?
That would be the funniest.
That'd be
outcome of
too
all
funny.
time, bro.
Anyway, sorry, Shiva.
Yeah, no, it's okay. No, it's all good. Like Aaron was right in saying that. Like it's such a messed up matchup because it's one of those things where you know for a fact this is going to be painstakingly close. But I think what's really messing with me and something that nobody's mentioned yet is the schedule and the bracket reset advantage that Poland is still going to be able to instill even harder in this match than the one with USA. First off, schedule will be favoring both teams if it was USA Poland. This time, Australia have to get up early in the morning. And Poland will also have to, honestly, for people who are that young, like teenagers for the most part, they're not going to be the most responsible with their sleep schedule. Like, let's be real. If they're the ones who are then going to have the nice 11 a.m. match, but then be able to bracket reset, be fully awake after that, practice for the pool, plus info, then I think they're just going to feel so much better with this. And Australia are going to be fatigued to death because Emmerich will be playing every single map, plus Box. They'll be playing every single map, and they're going to have to play bracket reset again against a opponent that's going to be even better than they were the match before. Like, I think this is so Poland favored with bracket reset, but game one, at the very least, is going to be the closest thing of all time. But I think regardless, whether or not it goes to bracket reset, I think at the end of the day, Poland will win OWC. I think. As close as I think it will be.
Yeah. Set one, Australia, 6-7, 6-7 in TB. Because mechanics is going to be early match for Poland. They're going to lose on the mechanics picks and the DTs and all that stuff. They'll get the tiebreaker. They'll win that. Second match, Poland wakes up. They take break points and win 7-4. And now we can transition into the next segment.
There it is. There it is.
Made it.
Boy, that's a screenshot
Unfortunately, we
waiting to
can't
happen.
transition into the next segment because I'm waiting on cameras from both of our interviewees. So I'm actually waiting for both of them.
All right,
Australia,
Shiba,
I
do
love
your
you.
thing.
Yeah,
Australia, I love you. All right.
Here's how Australia can still win.
Here's how
No,
Australia
like
can still win.
they can. I just
Their
Emrek
support is
FC
better
every
than
match.
Poland's. That's literally it. Like that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like
I think
the top two is going to match each other. It's literally just down to third, fourth player on every map. That's it.
yeah.
Are we underrating Atkins by chance? Like, is there ever
Potentially,
a world where
Yes.
we're
Potentially.
underrating Atkins?
Yes.
I mean, no. Look at the thing
Okay,
is,
but like he
Atkins
just
is
hasn't
very
been
good,
performing. I'm
but
sorry,
Atkins
he
has
just
had a
hasn't looked the
yeah.
same as last year. That's all
No,
there
he
is
was good
to
last
it.
shaky
week.
tournament.
Last weekend he looked good. Like from what I remember, he was genuinely playing
This
well
weekend,
last weekend.
He put up a 1.016 performance score playing 12 of 19 maps. He was 20th overall.
Out of 47. Yeah.
Emrek and
That
Box
really isn't that
reference were
bad.
number 1 and number 6 at 1.8 and 1.37. So like, bit of
That
a
isn't
gap.
That
Poland
isn't
had
that
four,
bad,
four
honestly.
players that placed ahead of Atkins in performance score.
Yeah, Poland,
Honestly,
like their roster depth is actually like freaking insane. Like
yeah.
it's just not believable. And how close their match was with US means I'm really excited. I want to see that rematch. But also like the optics of an Australia Poland matchup also are really enticing because then, you know, if Australia gets past USA, then the mental blocks are all down. Like you're playing with fire at that point.
Yeah.
And
I think like what's so god tier about this narrative is that regardless of who wins, there is a colossal celebration to be had for them winning. Like
Oh yeah,
Emrek
absolutely.
or
It
Malashevsky
just
getting
means
their
more.
first World Cup victory. And then for the countries, Australia getting their first World Cup win ever, including getting revenge on their biggest dread boss in OWC, and then getting a win on their biggest rivals. Like this is a matchup from 2023 that was like one of the best matches in OWC, period. And then for Poland, it's their return, like reigniting their glory in 2017. Like this is regardless of who wins, like it's a celebration if this is the grand finals matchup. Like this is the best World Cup grand finals matchups since USA Korea in like 2023, in my mind. Like
Yeah.
it is such a god tier thing. I'm so excited for this because I really hope it goes this way. Because I'll be delighted for both of these teams for making it, and I'll be even happier for whoever wins.
All right. That's a good segue into our last segment of the episode. Thank you very much to Sad Shiba and Miles for coming on. And welcome to two members of Team Canada, Zootinator and Ploot, onto Full Circle. How's it going, guys?
Hey y'all, doing good. Hi Ploot. Hi everybody.
Yeah, we are we're I think just gonna get started with talking about some of what happened this OWC for Canada, some of how this iteration went for the team. Got a couple of questions for both of you, and really some are kind of for Xooty, some are kind of for Ploot, but feel free to chime in. We're just gonna kind of talk about how OWC went and how things went this year. We saw a very new Canadian roster this year, right? Like there were 5 rookies, there were 6 new players. Technically, Yip isn't completely new; he's a returning player, but took a break for a year, right? What's the process of creating the team, and what's your thoughts on including 5 completely new players?
Honestly, I'm kind of like the backup for Xylus when he's deciding. So he's the one that's doing all the, he's our captain.
Right.
So Xylus is doing the entire pool. He's doing the entire schedule. He's doing all the brain work, So I'm in the back there. I'm like, who's played this year? Who hasn't played this year? Who's looking really promising? And he's kind of just feeding me all this information, and I'm giving him the feedback on who I think looks really good. So we had a lot of rookies, like you said, look really good this year, and actually a lot of players that didn't maybe were too busy to return this year, so we didn't see them in the tryouts or weren't very strong this year. So that is definitely a reason why we got a lot of newbies.
I know one of the things that you had kind of mentioned was like motivation with a bunch of new players. Was that like, did that ever factor into the decision-making process for Xylus potentially as part of like, should we include more rookies? Should we stick with some known quantities in OWC? Or was that something that was just kind of a happy accident that came around afterward?
I feel like it was more like a happy accident. When we do our tryouts, also include a run of like the previous year's grand finals, so we can see who can compete on like a very high skill cap level. In terms of like intentionally picking newbies, I don't know if it was really there was anything. It might have just been a happy accident because it turned out really well. Like everyone has that fire when it's their first year of OWC. It's really magical. I'm sure Ploot's gonna attest to this very soon. It's very magical first year OWC. Even I remember. So it was probably more like a happy accident.
Yeah, as a bit of a follow-up to that, I think because you had so many new players, a lot of people thought Canada were kind of the underdogs this year. I think a lot of people had Canada top 8, top 6. I don't think I saw anybody at the start of the tournament who predicted Canada would finish top 4. Did that affect your preparation or your mindset at all coming into the tournament? I know, like in the South Korea match, I thought it was really funny. I tuned into your stream afterwards, and you seemed so shocked that 20% of people had Canada in pick'ems.
No, I was. I mean, Korea especially, they won last year, right? So we're going into that match thinking that's Korea. Like they've been consistently very strong, especially with gimmick. So we're going into that with a little bit of hesitance. I definitely was. I knew if I could match Flying Tuna there, then we had a really good chance of winning because they lost a lot of their star players this year. And that's basically what I did. But honestly, going back to when we were doing our tryouts and looking especially for skill cap players, that's when it really started to shine. When we were going to that top 4, almost top 3 spot that we got, we really need those skill cap players because OWC gets so hard.
I have a slightly funny follow-up question to that. Did Redlock help?
Ploot, were you in Redlock? I didn't actually watch.
Ploot didn't play either.
I didn't play.
What?
Neither of you played Redlock.
Yeah.
Xooty not playing Redlock is fair, but Ploot not playing is funny.
But the
No,
top 3
but-
Redlock all made the team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was
Yeah,
TS
yeah.
Fury and Wandario were top 2 or something.
Yeah, TS Fury Wandario were
Yeah,
top
and
2, and then Birchman was third, actually.
Birchman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good timing, I think. I think they were all like fired up, honestly, to play.
Wandario said it helped. Did any of them like mention anything about it, or was it like just, hey, another 8-star pool experience? Can't hurt, but
No, I think it was kind of an inside joke with them though. They were bringing up the Redlock here and there. Like, let's get the Redlock duo in. Let's get them in. Stuff like that.
I mean, hey, that's good. That's good. Dude, how was your first year? Generally for OWC, like nerves are a big thing that's talked about a lot in OWC. Like the OWC nerves just hit different compared to normal tournaments. How was your first OWC? How was it for nerves? And especially because you've played some other country-based tournaments like 5WC. How does it compare to that?
It was really a whole new experience. Like I like to think I'm pretty good with nerves just overall, but coming into OWC, like qualifiers especially, I was just it was a kind of nerves that I never really experienced before. And I think it's just down to being OWC, just like on the big stage, really.
Yeah, did the other rookies talk about that a lot, or was that something that you kind of discussed, or that you didn't really like? Don't mention the elephant in the room.
No, it definitely did come up a decent amount, especially in the first few weeks. But I mean, yeah, we worked through it, and obviously it worked out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a follow-up to that. You're of course a bit more of a specialist on the roster. Like you're not playing every single map. Does that kind of increase the pressure for you at all? Like you feel like I have to perform on this, these maps that I'm in for?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I feel like I'm so used to, like, on one hand, of course, like I definitely do feel like I'm less nervous when I'm permalobby / just in for a lot more of the pool, but I don't know. I find there's like something comforting about really knowing that, like, no matter what I do, like I'm gonna go in, get my few maps, and just I'll do my best, and whatever happens, happens. Like I don't think I have that many expectations that I put on myself when it comes to that.
I guess on the
Can I ask a
flip side,
question?
yeah, go ahead.
Really quick, actually, I was just
Mhm.
curious because we're talking about rookies, but do you think having more rookies on the team actually made you feel better? Like you're not the only one that was like brand new.
Uh, that's a tough question. 'Cause I don't know, like most people on the team I had already known in one way or another through teaming with them. Like I think a big one is like me and Birchman both coming from multiple country teams together and just making it into OWC. I think that definitely did. It definitely did help, but I don't know. I came to play. I don't think I I don't know how much of a difference it really made.
Did I have a inverse of that question for you for
Okay.
kind of nerves? You're the all rounder, right? You're in for almost every single map. Generally, for a lot of tournament players, that helps with nerves. But if you also need to like carry every map, do you start to feel a lot of that pressure? Like, does that weigh on you and make you more nervous, or because you're in for every map, it just kind of helps with the nerves and you don't?
I think it really depends on the match setup.
Uh,
For sure, I can just talk about that Korea and Australia match because that was our last weekend. Probably a lot of people watched that. But like I said, I know if I can match their star player, we can win. So I do end up putting a lot of pressure on myself in that sense. But thankfully, the way we build our roster is we get 4 really good core speed players, like something I can't play, or 4 really good gimmick players as well. So I know that if I have to step off, it's gonna be okay. But definitely when I'm on, like I want to. That's why I'm not actually that involved in the pick process and everything. That's totally on Xylas. He's the brain. I just call myself the brawn. Like he sends me out like a rabid dog. Like I just focus up and I play, right? Like that's all I do. I don't look at anything else. So yeah.
doesn't 6 you on MREC in the Australia matches.
Get him, yeah. Basically.
Yeah, I want to know with that in mind, like, and this is on kind of a micro level, with the South Korea match specifically in mind, the xooty go kill was at an all-time high in that match. So I would be curious, like, what was like kind of your approach to that specific match, your feelings on it, and like you've had like a hell of a career, right? Where would you put that? Like in terms of your best performances, like coming into OWC finals week and FCing multiple maps and doing the crazy stuff you did there.
Honestly, that OWC weekend, even though we lost against Australia, the previous match, the Korea one, that was probably up there for one of my best matches. Like I haven't played tournaments much this entire year. So going back into that and realizing like, oh, the Unk still got it, you know what I'm saying? Like Unk still got it.
Auntie's got
It
it.
feels good. Auntie's got it. So yeah, it felt really good. And thankfully, those 2 FCs that I got in match on the hidden one there and the free mod 4, man, those were like specifically like those were maps made for me, you know what I'm saying? So I felt really confident on those. Unfortunately, I couldn't match my FC on the next match, but yeah, it just feels really good when you can actually perform how you want to perform, you know.
This is kind of off topic, but I think we're getting closer to some of the end of the question. Canada trying to ban out a bunch of different stuff, pick into a bunch of different stuff. For a team like that doesn't really just pick one thing, like, you know, Australia picks a lot of speed, or South Korea last year was picking basically all aim tech reading, right? When you don't have that one really defined strength, how did you feel about your strengths and weaknesses throughout the tournament as it went on? Did you start to feel like you had big strengths and weaknesses, or was it all just kind of, you know, just pick whatever is better against the specific team? Obviously, you're not handling a ton of the pick strategy, but you're on the team. You're hearing about the decision making process.
Yeah, we do have like a really good outline of what we're gonna do before we enter the match, as a lot of teams do. Um, but a lot of it, especially in those later stages, is influenced by who can FC a map. Because in the later stages, if you have one person that can really perform you will just decimate the entire team. That's why we picked that hidden one and picked that free mod 4. Because I knew, like, I told them, if I'm not FCing these maps, you've got to take a gun and just shoot me, man. Like, I'm not gonna miss on these. So that's we really gotta look for those. So essentially what we would do is we would say, here's what we're gonna do. Like, we want to pick aim maps essentially, because that's probably one of our strongest things. And then we see if everyone's feeling good on aim, we'll pick it. But yeah, since the OWC pools are becoming more and more kind of like multi-skill setted in each map, it can become really hard to decide. But the star player should be FCing everything anyways. That's my mentality. So you just gotta play your best with your strategy.
No, I mean, it paid off. I mean, completely unrelated question, but are there any teams that you didn't get to face this year that you wanted to, or are there any teams outside the top 3 that you thought were particularly exciting?
That's for either of you. Also.
Yeah,
Either
for
or
both
both.
of you.
Either or both.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, well, last year we were eliminated by UK, and I don't think we got to play them this year. So that one I kind of missed. My good old bud Bubble Man could be rocking out on the battlefield. I think New Zealand would have been interesting too, because they had a crazy run, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Anyone you were looking forward to facing this year that you didn't get to? Kind of had the run this year.
I don't know, like, I feel like, kind of unfortunately, despite how invested I was in OWC as a player, I didn't really have the same, like, investment in just watching the rest of it, which, I don't know, I kept up, but I don't know, I already think I was really in it, at least this year, just in to do my best, like, gameplay wise, and so
we have to focus.
I kind of skipped out on some of the enjoyment, I guess.
Yeah, you can't watch as much if you're trying to practice the entire time, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, I guess, right, there's, I think, a lot of discussion in tournaments in general about practicing too much, over practicing versus not practicing enough and not being prepared. This is more of like a person to person thing, so you really have to answer team wise, but just personally, how much practice do you put in throughout the week practicing? That's obviously different for somebody like you, Ploot, who's a reading map specialist. You probably have to practice each individual map a lot. I know for especially some of the like overlap reading picks, some of it is just you have to make practice diffs or go in the editor. But some of them you don't maybe need to practice as much. So talk a bit about that.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you can start it off, because I think your answer might be more interesting. Because you're crazy. I know some of those reading maps, Ploot would just hop on and it didn't even matter.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's weird because I remember, like, actually for quite a few of the more reading intensive picks, like, I remember getting on, like seeing everyone, like, send their site read scores, and I would just get on, and, like, within, like, 3 to 4 plays, I'd already pretty much be at my score cap. So, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I feel like, on one hand, I could have practiced more for sure, but I think, like, I don't know, I feel like generally I don't practice as much as I maybe should, but I don't know how much of that is, like, just me thinking, like how much better could I do versus what I'm consistently getting. Because, for example, the finals, No Mod 5, that map I really did not want to practice, and it was just, I don't know, this is getting a little off topic actually, but
all good.
I found the reading maps this iteration to be pretty nice, because I remember hearing, at least coming into OWC, that they were going to be leaning into Gimmick a bit more this year, and I don't know, it's a weird feeling going in with that expectation and coming out feeling like I was expecting more than what I actually got. Like, I don't know. Part of that, I think, is just me coming from lower rank ranges where, like, despite the reading still, like, scaling, there isn't nearly as much of a mechanics requirement in those compared to these. So like, again, back to that No Mod 5, just to finish off my tangent. It just, I didn't practice it as much as I think I could have, but I also really don't know how much it would have mattered because, like, and I think this was the case with a lot of maps where a lot of my misses were on the same patterns every run. So I don't know. To a certain degree, like, I felt like more practice wouldn't have gotten nearly enough benefit for it to be worth it.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. I always say this thing where when you are like when you have a map pool in front of you, especially at the later stages when you're starting to get skill capped almost, um, there's only so much you can do to practice in 1 week because when you get to OWC's level, you basically have to be able to play these 9 stars already. If you're trying to train yourself to be able to play 9 stars mid tournament, it's not gonna happen, right? So, what we were doing as a team, anyways, was we would play the sight read, all together one time, and then we would get into another lobby where we kind of like focus on specific maps that we think we could do better on, or like iron out what our picks and bans should be, and then kind of do a scrim all together, and then the rest is just totally solo play.
Is that the military training that Wandario was talking about in Twitch chat right now? The
Yeah,
regimented
kind of.
training from Drill Sergeant Xylus?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of lobbies. Like people underestimate. I think like we get together three
Yeah.
times a week minimum, 3 or 4
yeah.
times, just to
That's a
play,
lot.
right? And then there's solo play too. Yeah. But it helps too because you're with your team. You get the vibes too. The vibes is the most important, right?
Having fun is important. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, how much does that matter in your opinion? This is like a way more subjective thing. How much does just team environment and having fun with the people on your team matter in comparison to like you have the singular best players in the world, but none of you get along with each
I mean, thankfully, OSU community in like top tournament player sphere is very friendly anyway, so we're never gonna have a situation where we all just hate each other. We're on the same team, but being able to be around each other and want each other to do well, especially in OWC, because the like your team can have a very big variety. Like you have your speed players here, you have your reading players here, you have people that are skill capped, people that can't do this map, people can do this map. But if you're all there together and you all have to play this damn 9-star pool and you're all crying together, that can make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So it really, really helps to especially like keep consistent with your practice.
Any further questions from either TNG or iFlame or either of
No,
our
I
Canadian
think-
players here?
I think
Um,
that's all we got, unless you have another one, TNG.
Just on the way out, as an OWC rookie and coming out of your first time playing for Ploot, like what do you think you're going to be most taking away from having played in a World Cup, and like what would you say is like your favorite or best experience playing OWC for the first time?
I think, like, I remember after we lost, I dropped a a pretty heartfelt message in our team chat. But basically, like, I think what I really got out of OWC, at least on a personal level, is really just like I was able to prove mainly to myself that I can keep up at that level, and that when I made the team, that I could make the contribution that I was hoping to coming in. And I think finals hidden three, like I think especially the finals matches were just like a huge highlight of OWC for me, just in terms of just how we all played, just the environment in those matches was just absolutely unmatched for me.
It's a
Super
good
cool.
year.
Yeah.
Last question for me, more for xooty, but also for Ploot, I guess, but more for xooty. Are you happy with top 4 this year? Because you've been playing for a few years in a row now for Team Canada. Are you happy with top 4 this year in particular? And also, are you still looking for top 3 after this?
I think top 4 is really good because if you think about all the teams that have played the World Cup overall, you know, there was like 40 people that were in groups, right? 40 teams. And then you go all the way and you play top 4, and that's like 2 months or something we've been playing this. Like
Yeah.
we did good. Like we felt okay being top 4 and not having to play Grands Pool because obviously Grands Pool is crazy.
Quite hard.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt good. We can definitely get top 3 again. You know, we did it in 2020.